Update. Point of order, Gregory Stafford.
On a point of order, Madam Deputy Speaker, during Cabinet Office questions on the 5th of March, the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister informed me that the appointment of the new Director General of the Propriety and Ethics Team was made on an interim basis and in line with the rules. However, I have now received a copy of the Civil Service Recruitment Framework, which states that a temporary promotion, managed move, or the appointment of a single applicant within the senior civil service must require ministerial authorisation either from the Prime Minister or the relevant minister before an appointment can be made without an external competition. Given the importance of the transparency and confidence in this government's propriety and ethics system, could you please advise the House, Madam Deputy Speaker, on how members can seek clarification when there appears to be a discrepancy between a minister's statement to the House and the provisions set out in the Civil Service Recruitment Framework 2022.
I thank the honourable member for his point of order. He will know that I and the Chair are not responsible for the answers given by ministers. But the Minister, as I can see, the Chief Secretary is already here. I think he wishes to respond. Go ahead, Chief Secretary.
I'm happy to do so, Madam Deputy Speaker. I do not recognise the discrepancy. As I've said to the House previously, there was a temporary appointment to the role in question within the rules. Permanent appointment to that role will be subject to the normal recruitment processes. But if he wishes to write to me with more detail, I'll happily respond to him in writing.
Hopefully that enables the member. Otherwise, he can obviously pursue this even further. Point of order, Liz Saville-Roberts.
Has the Speaker received any notice of a statement from the Government following the question from my honourable friend, the member of Arbroath and Broughty Ferry, to the Prime Minister this morning regarding the contents of a memo from the Prime Minister to Cabinet members advising them to disregard opposition from devolved governments to direct interventions by Westminster ministers? Could she advise me how the long-standing Sewell Convention, which enshrines the protocol that Westminster governments do not intervene in devolved matters in Wales, Scotland or Northern Ireland, has been respected in this matter? And could you direct me to which bin this has been filed by the government?
I thank the honourable member for giving notice of her point of order. I have received no such indication from the government, but I can see that the Chief Secretary wishes to respond in person once again.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. The issues raised in the Cabinet note that's been, I understand, leaked to journalists are important, and the government takes them seriously. The Sewell Convention is an important framework for the role in which the UK government respects the devolved responsibilities of devolved governments, one for which I am the responsible minister, which is why I have repeated engagement with the First and Deputy First Ministers of the devolved governments about our relationship working together. However, I will just remind the House that devolved governments are important, but in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland there are two governments, the UK government and the devolved government, and that's why we retain the right to deliver for the people of Northern Ireland, Wales and Scotland, as well as in England.
Point of order, Stephen Gethins.
Point of order, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I firstly apologise to you that I've not been able to give you notice of this, but this is in reference to the response and to the documents. I put down a written parliamentary question about when Peter Mandelson left his employment on the 4th of February. The emails on the 4th of February show that officials knew the answer to that question the 16th of October. Yet not only was my question late when it came back and I had to put down a second question, but no answer was forthcoming. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, we have a role here and a job here to keep this government to account. They knew the answer to the question and they did not answer that question, and I know that you will take that extraordinarily seriously, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Thank the member for... I didn't get prior notice of his question, but I can appreciate how anxious he would be. It's incredibly important that members who are sent here by their constituents have their questions answered to quickly. I think that the Chief Secretary wishes to respond in person. That's very fast indeed.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I can only apologise to members of the House if answers to parliamentary questions have not been quick enough to meet the expectations of members of the House. I'll just remind members and the honourable member in question that, of course, all of the documents that have been published today have had to go subject to checks with the Metropolitan Police and the Intelligence and Security Committee to not prejudge criminal investigations, which, as I'm sure he and all members across the House will agree, we do not want to interfere with inappropriately.
I'm sure if responses to members were forthcoming, the Chief Secretary might not have to respond at the dispatch box to points of order. I'll allow the front benches to shuffle over.